I've been called a low-rent apologist for racism. I've been called a fucking racist. And I've been called, most recently, a fucking fascist cunt. I've also done a video on Islam. I was flagged for hate speech and it was banned from YouTube. Now I've got to say this. How do you think the left would respond if they came face to face with working class people from working class communities who simply express the concerns that they have about immigration and about Islam? If I can get a response like that, how would working class people who engage with the left for the first time, what welcome would they get? They'd feel castigated, insulted, alienated, uncomfortable. They'd be out the door, right into the hands of the far right or the populist right. That's what would happen. In fact, that is what is happening. And the people who shut me down and criticise me for being right-wing of all things, when I'm a left-winger, irony of ironies, are the problem. The left has been taken over by the metropolitan elites, the left liberals. It's their voices which dominate. Middle-class people, always. They dominate everything all the time. This is why you're reminding me of the officer who came over with his patronising attitude when I opened the red and white barrier. It's in my first video, if you haven't seen that. That's how I feel about the left. I will not forgive you for turning your back on my class to defend a corrupt capitalist institution in the form of the EU. Of course we voted to leave it. You need to start listening to people's concerns about Islam. I can't talk about it. So down here, I will put a link to David Rubin's introduction. It's about 8 minutes long, where he talks about it very articulately. And I agree with him 100%. It's a wake-up call. We need more working class people, more working class voices, and people who can understand the day-to-day grind of living in the communities that we live in, seeing the things that we see, understanding the things that we understand. And those patronising people, those fashionable, trendy people, if they can't stomach that, they need to be got rid of. They need to be removed, they need to be flagged and shut down, and they need to be shown the door. How dare you call me the things that you've called me? With every day, this is becoming less and less of a joke for me. When people are barely holding on to their sanity, they've got families, they've got kids, they're struggling for money, they're going to food banks. Why would they not be concerned about a rising number of immigrants, particularly when they're visible in high-density areas? You cannot address that concern by shutting them down. Of course they're going to think these people are not for me and look elsewhere. The fact that you people consider yourself educated, sophisticated, intelligent is the greatest insult of all. It's absolutely suicidally stupid. I've got nothing else to say. Apart from this, those people who are tempted by the populist right, the Farages, the Le Pens, the Tommy Robinsons, the Trumps, they are all, Tommy Robinson is a little bit different, but they are all representatives of a rich, privileged elite. And when push comes to shove, they are all for cuts, they are all for low pay, and they are all for austerity. They pick one subject, knowing that they can dupe working class people by focusing on that one subject, again because the regressive left won't touch it with a barge pole, and they can win that support and pull that support from where it should be focused. Where it should be focused is on a strong, genuinely progressive, genuinely working class left. And then when we come together and those voices come together inclusively, That is what will force them to shit their pants. That's the big mistake that support for Tommy Robinson will lead to. When do these people talk about the mental health crisis, the attacks to our National Health Service? When do they support the striking doctors, the striking bin workers? Stop condemning the bin workers. When working class people fight back against the system and win, we get stronger and more confident. That has always been the only way to fight against this system. I remember the words of Malcolm X in the film version, where the black guy is mentor when he's in prison. He looks at the black people all lined up. And this is true now for all working class people in this country. We have been alienated from our past, from our traditions, from our culture. But it isn't a romanticised patriotism. It is a history of class struggle, a history of trade unions fighting back against the rich and the powerful and winning, ending child labour. That's just one of the victories. The 8-hour day, the 40-hour week, the weekend, protection at work, votes for working class people. This is our history. So it is a call to working class people who are tempted by the populist to not fall for that con, and it is an urgent call to the left to pull its finger out. If those middle class trendies and those left wingers who are infected by that trendy nonsense can't talk to working class people, get their hands dirty and listen to real concerns, they need to be gone. And we need to bring forward real working class people, real working class voices and people from those communities and get them on platforms so that they can be empowered and say what's real out there. It's arrogant, patronising, middle class, insulting and very, very dangerous. You are fueling the far right by not being allowed to address concerns. When people are blowing us up, destroying us, slicing our throats, killing us, it's a growing threat. We need to talk about it. And it needs to be addressed.